Coming up, we got our first look at the new Evil Dead movie. Join us as we dissect the trailer for Evil Dead Burn. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. We are your host, Arturo Padilla, along with Mr. Nick Valdez. Before we get started, do not forget to hit that subscribe button, that thumbs up, and that bell. That way you know when all these videos are dropping. Tex, what's up, buddy?
Howdy, everybody. Howdy, Arturo. Evil Dead Burn. This is the 6th film in the Evil Dead franchise. It's part of Sam Raimi's kind of concerted effort to kind of get young and up-and-coming directors out there.
Yeah.
This is directed by Sebastian Vanacek. Excuse me if I mispronounce your name, but the last thing he did was
Infested,
Vermin.
baby.
Yeah.
He did Infested on Shudder. You know what, though, Tex? That was a cool movie.
Good?
Yes.
Was it good? Okay.
Dude, it was super fun. It's like giant spiders are taking over this like tenement building in France and stuff, and there's no way out. It's like the Raid with spiders. It's actually awesome. Really cool. It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So Evil Dead Burn, we finally got the first like teaser trailer for this attached to Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Unfortunately, I did not get this in theaters. I was a little bit bummed to find out that this was actually like released with like, and it's cool because they released it online, and if you're checking us out on YouTube right now, you can see the video itself, and like it's mid-action, probably like towards the climax of the movie. You have a woman just kind of crawling through a very dark house. That is my only issue with this trailer. Like, first off, right, where I'm like, yo,
it's so dark.
Yeah, this visually, like, yo, visual fidelity needs to. I don't know what it is about modern horror lighting in general, Arturo. I don't know if it's like because of like modern cameras make blacks blacker in the thing, right? Makes stuff deeper, but it's just like it always seems like it's a tinge darker than usual. Is it like yes, right? Okay.
It's 100% a choice. I've worked with modern cameras and they are quite excellent. And the lighting is definitely a choice. It is very dark. I remember watching this before I actually watched The Mummy, and I was like, holy crap. Because we talked about this movie for so long. We even got into a whole conversation how they were talking about Evil Dead Wrath coming out next year, and we had nothing about Evil Dead Burn. So the fact that we finally got a teaser trailer ahead of Lee Cronin's Evil Dead Mummy, but if you guys haven't seen or heard our review of the Mummy, go check that out in our archives. But the fact that this played before it works perfectly, because if you guys heard our conversation about the Mummy, Lee Cronin's Mummy definitely dabbles in the Evil Dead realm.
Yeah, and it's Evil Dead in everything but name.
Evil Dead with sand, right, Tex?
Yeah, it's Evil Dead with sand. Not enough sand, if you'd ask, but like let's. Like Arturo said, this is like a new director, new Evil Dead idea. The only, the only issue I have, I guess not an issue, just mainly like the only real question I have is whether or not that's a good idea, right? Because I get the whole like exploring other creators and what they can do with Deadites and what they want to do, but like we kind of saw in Rise, there are only so many stories you can tell, right, about like Deadites and like their connections with other people.
I mean, there is a formula, right?
Yeah, I ultimately I think that's what's going to be the thing, right? Where it's like it's cool we're getting these different ideas from different creators, but like how far can they go when there is a formula? And
and it's funny because if you don't follow that formula, like there is no Evil Dead movie. So there is going to have to be a point where somebody discovers an ancient book or an ancient record or an ancient tape or a videotape of some sort that they're going to have to play. It's going to summon things and without their knowing. That's just the formula.
That's the thing too, Arturo. Yeah. Like, it kind of has to be Necronomicon, right? Like it kind of, because it's Evil Dead, it has to be the Necronomicon, right?
Yeah, and that's the only way.
Yeah, and that's also one of those things where it's like, okay, it's horror movie logic, right? Of like you there's going to be a character that kind of reads through it at some point, whether they're mystically compelled to do so, like in Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead, or like, or it's just like a record that they happen to play, like in Evil Dead Rise, or a
Yeah.
tape that they play like in the first two, and it's like, it has to be Necronomicon. So how are they going to get it within this? It looks like a modern house. I don't know. That's the thing about this teaser. It's like it's not
Yeah.
only dark, but like you don't really get anything
Yeah.
in terms
Yeah.
of
You're
like,
thrown right into some action
yeah,
where people are getting attacked. It looks like maybe there's a group of friends that might have found something or other, because I see a bunch of different people in this trailer getting thrown about. There's one
right,
assailant just walking around, kind of grabbing people, and you don't know if that's a deadite looking person or not. He has a weird look to him. If your buddies at home have watched the trailer, just comment down below as well as what you think is going on here, because we have no idea. But there's some people
yeah,
getting attacked, and I think again the journey here is how to get the Necronomicon and
yeah,
how is it read, right? Like that's usually where the journey differs in Evil Dead movie. Like once we get into the book and we start reading from it and things start happening, Deadites kind of do Deadite things and we know what happens there. But the real difference is going to be how they get to that situation.
yeah,
Um, this looks like it's a modern take. It's not doing any period piece or anything like that. So I am very curious as to how they're going to find the book or tape or vinyl or whatever they're going to do
yeah.
in this movie, and how they're going to invoke these demons. You know?
I mean, like, if it were like a really modern setting, it'd be like a TikTok or something. Like, it would be like a, you would see someone like reading the Necronomicon on TikTok or
That's
something. Like, just
great. That's great. We're gonna have to
I
edit
don't.
that one out for our own idea text just in case.
That's what I mean. Like, it would have to be something like that. Like, you would like, but no, this is all to say that like one of the other big differentiators, right, between the Evil Deads is the Deadites themselves, right? Like,
Mhm.
because we've seen so many different examples, like there are similarities between the Deadites. There are things that they kind of have to do between each movie, right? Like,
Yeah.
even with Lee Cronin's The Mummy, right? Like, there's kind of a thing where one of the monsters does something in that movie where you're like, okay, that's a Deadite. That's something a Deadite would do,
Even
right?
the
And
look, right? Like even the look on her
yes,
face was definitely like, oh, that's definitely Sam Raimi inspired 100%.
yeah, like, and that's the thing, right? Like, Deadites kind of all have to look a certain way. They all kind of have to act a certain way. Like, yes, they're evil, but they're kind of playful in their evilness.
Very evil,
And
very nice.
yeah, they're very nice, very evil. And shout outs to Danhausen, but like it's like it depends on which route that this film goes, right? Because we've seen comedic, we've seen like serious, we've
Mhm.
seen extreme gore with Fede Alvarez, and we've seen like Evil Dead Rise, which kind of like didn't, like, it didn't go far enough in some places compared to others, but also it was more focused on the familial element of it, right? Of the
Yeah.
whole, the mother and her children.
Mhm.
This is why they, spoiler for Evil Dead Rise, is why they fuse at the end to create like some kind of super monster.
Yeah.
And that was that film's unique take on it, right? So like, what, I guess going in, like, my big curiosity is what is the unique spin with Burn, right? Like, how
Yeah.
are these Deadites going to be different? And
Yeah. That
we
is
see that is the thing, right? Like, and it's like,
that's a great
how
point
can
too,
they be
Tex.
different?
And then
Yeah,
on top of that too, we have the the problem, I think you can call it, that the year after we're
yeah, we
getting
already
Evil Dead
yes,
Wrath, right?
yes,
So
yes,
are we flooding the market too much with Evil Dead right now? Evil Dead, the last time we got Evil Dead, it was Evil Dead Rise, right? And before that,
yeah,
it was back in 2013, right? With Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead.
yeah.
And then before that, it was Army of Darkness in the early 90s. And before
And
that, it
then
was in the 80s, you know? So,
that's if you don't count that Star show that Bruce
oh,
Campbell
yes,
did.
Ash versus Evil Dead, also a
Yeah,
fun
so
show.
like
So we have
it,
that as well, you know?
yeah,
So,
like we've gotten so many versions of Evil Dead and Deadites that, like, you know it does feel like we've kind of seen it all in terms of what these monsters can do, or what they are doing, and what they're
Hollywood
capable of.
thinks we haven't seen it all, Tex. We have two of these movies back to back years, and that's a little concerning because can you really, you know, make it that much different?
Yeah, like how right? It's like how do you make it your own? Right? Like how do you go like and this is all say before we even get a full trailer for this. This is what the hilarious part is, right?
Yeah.
It's like I feel like we've been talking about Evil Dead Burn forever, but no, it's because we've been talking about Evil Dead Wrath more than Burn, right? And then now that we're looking at it, you can
Yep.
see the whole thing on a whole. And after we got Lee Cronin's The Evil Dead Mummy, like it was like, okay, now we're getting a lot of this, right? It's like, okay, like it's starting to pile on in that sense. And this is why it's like I'm more curious than I am negatively looking at this, I could say,
Yes, I
right? Where
agree.
it's
I
yeah,
agree
because
100%.
the
Bec
the
because
teaser's awesome, right? Like in terms
yes,
of like what it's doing, right?
yes, the teaser looks great. It definitely it gives you the vibes you want from an Evil Dead movie, like, what the hell's going on? The pacing looks like it's rampant and, like, there's just craziness going on the screen if you guys are watching this. And but all that said, Tex, I have concerns because
Yeah.
Sam Raimi went on record stating that Evil Dead Wrath, next year's Evil Dead, is gonna be the scariest and like most goriest of them all. But it's like, hey,
Wow.
what happened to Evil Dead Burn? So I don't know what we're gonna get here. I am very excited to see a full story trailer for this movie to see
Yeah.
exactly where we're gonna be and how we'll be getting to those deadites. But we talked about it here on the cast before, buddies. I have my concerns when you're promoting the next installment of this franchise before you're even promoting the current installment of the franchise. And then, buddies, if you guys haven't heard our talk about Lee Cronin's Mummy, go check that out. It's in our archives. And then we have Lee Cronin with technically another
Yeah,
Evil Dead
he
movie.
like spoilers for the Mummy, but he did an Evil Dead movie. So it's like, you know, it's we're getting a lot of it. And
Lee
that's
Cronin's Evil Dead with Sand.
yeah, like we're like Arturo said, we're getting a lot of it. And within all of this, Evil Dead Burn kind of got buried. Like it's kind of been buried.
It got
And then
buried and the release date got pushed up too, which
yeah,
is
like
another kind of like, oh, let's
it, yes, because you're like, oh, it got pushed up to like July 10th, and you're like, oh, yeah, maybe that's a sign of goodwill, right? You're like, oh, maybe it's a sign that they've got something, or more cynically, you'd be like, oh, it's getting out of the way of something that might be bigger later, so it
Mhm.
doesn't completely die on the vine when it hits theaters. We could go either way, but what's funny, like what's ultimately kind of thing about this is, and with even Wrath like being promoted as like the most violent version of it like ever, is that even possible after Fede Alvarez's version, right? Like, is it? This is the thing where it's like, yes, maybe looking back on it, you're like, yeah, that one's like 15 years old at this point, or like was it 2012, something like that? Like it,
2013.
yeah, okay, so it's 13 years old at this point, and you're like, it's still kind of like the best Evil Dead.
It's not kind of, it's still the best in the
Yeah,
franchise,
like I
and
yeah,
the
can't lie.
the replay of that thing is incredible. That movie still holds up time
Yeah,
after time, rewatch after rewatch, and you can't say that a lot for the other Evil Dead's movie. Like, I love Sam Raimi. I can't rewatch Evil Dead 1 and 2 over and over again,
yeah,
like I have watched Fede Alvarez's. In fact, I even uh saw Evil Dead Rise a couple of years ago again,
really.
and yeah, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. The end gets a little sloppy because of the whole amalgamation monster thing there, but it wasn't all that terrible. But all that said is like, what are we gonna get here with Evil Dead Burn? What are we gonna get with Evil Dead Wrath? Do these movies connect? Are they part of a part one and part two? You know what I mean? Like, that's the only
Ooh,
thing I
that
can
could be
think
cool.
of it coming a year later, right? That we have the same universe, like kind of clashing, like just characters maybe like meeting in different like in different movies or something. Maybe these characters in Burn meet with the characters in Wrath or vice versa. But I need to see
And
what's happening here.
even then, Arturo, what's the point of that?
Yeah,
Because it's like,
good point.
because we've already gone down that path with Bruce Campbell, like the legend, right? And
Mhm.
because he's unfortunately out of the acting bubble for now, I wish him the best in
Yeah,
terms of
wish him
his
well.
health. Like seriously, like what is the point of that, right? Where it's like even if you have all these Evil Dead characters mishing and mashing, it's like, are you sure you want to do that without without Bruce Campbell in it?
Because
Are you
also,
sure?
but also text like I see what they might be wanting to do with if that makes any sense.
No,
I
no,
see what they're wanting to do with this franchise. Like you mentioned earlier, they're getting up and coming directors to showcase their talents, but buddies at home, there comes a point in an Evil Dead franchise where everything, as I mentioned before, becomes formulaic. And that
yeah,
artistry and that vision that that director once possessed and had coming into the project will slowly fade away to the Deadite stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like, how different are we gonna get these movies, right? Because they're two different
yeah.
directors
Very
completely.
true.
So I am curious to see what they do with Burn and what they do with Wrath, and
Yeah,
if they're connecting in any way whatsoever. But all that said, I'm excited for this. I'm glad we finally got our first
yeah,
look at Evil Dead Burn. I think that once we get our trailer, full trailer for story, we'll have a little bit more information to talk about with you, buddies, at home. Please leave a comment down below if you did see the trailer in theaters attached to Mummy, or you just saw it recently, and let us know what you guys think. What's missing? What is going to happen? Let us know what you guys believe will happen with this franchise down the line, including with Wrath. Thank you so much for listening. This has been The Morgue, where we dissect the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. We are your hosts, Arturo Padilla, along with Mr. Nick Valdez. A big shout out goes to you guys out there for listening and for watching. We have all these episodes up on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast streams. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell, leave some stars, leave some reviews. Would highly appreciate it. A big shout out goes to Delvirus for all the artwork you've seen in front of you throughout the years. And last but not least, it is a scary world out there, especially with these deadites, but we are here to walk you through it.